We've spent the last few years treating artificial intelligence like a clean, digital tool living entirely on our laptops. Today, that software is actively rearranging physical infrastructure and global governance. Look at what's happening in Washington. The administration is pushing for a single, preemptive national AI rulebook. The goal is to lock in federal standards before individual states can fragment the market with their own competing laws. Right alongside that legislative push, the White House announced its new roster for the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. It is stacked with the executives building the industry, including Mark Zuckerberg, alongside the heads of Oracle, NVIDIA, and Dell. When the architects of a new technology double as the primary advisors to its regulators, the line between expert guidance and corporate self-interest disappears. The individuals selling the future of AI are now helping draft the exact laws meant to constrain them. It is an arrangement that allows corporate priorities to be written directly into national policy. They need that federal runway because the software is hitting a hard physical wall. Hyperscale computing requires massive amounts of power, and that ambition is now crashing into the finite reality of the electrical grid. This is a power substation, the physical hardware currently buckling under demand. The U.S. Energy Information Administration launched pilot surveys to figure out what data centers are pulling, because the government lacks a clean read on how much electricity this boom consumes. The friction of acquiring hardware and energy is forcing sovereign nations to act. France's Mistral raised $830 million in debt to build a massive data center near Paris. At the literal core of that facility are thousands of these NVIDIA chips, the raw materials in a state-backed race for sovereign compute power. With the terrestrial grid failing to keep pace, tech capital is looking upward. Startups like StarCloud are hitting billion-dollar valuations by pitching off-world, orbital data centers. Voyager and Icarus are already operating free-flying robots on the International Space Station, specifically gathering data to train future AI systems for zero-gravity deployments. The industry is effectively attempting to route around Earth's physical limits. By outsourcing its power demands and hardware operations to the thermosphere, AI is escaping the bottlenecks of the ground. Back down on Earth, there is another bottleneck. While the physical choke point is energy, the social choke point is human identity and access. European regulators are escalating enforcement fast. France reported TikTok to prosecutors over algorithmic harms to minors, and the EU opened a probe into Snapchat's handling of child safety. The European Commission is responding by using child safety concerns to develop a standardized age verification layer. Look how the architecture scales. This youth protection filter provides the blueprint for a universal passport system, a mandatory gate to access the basic internet. Then we hit the epistemic choke point. In the US midterms, fully synthetic, AI-generated attack ads are deployed with almost no federal guardrails. Objective truth is fracturing as fabricated evidence becomes a standard campaign strategy. This visualization represents how the tech industry is attempting to solve the crisis it created. Instead of fixing a single model, Microsoft uses GPT to draft content and a rival model to critique it, cross-examining systems to simulate accuracy. In both cases, online identity and political truth, the concept of safety provides the political leverage needed to install inescapable verification layers. And those layers are ultimately controlled by the exact same platforms creating the risk. When you zoom out, these don't look like separate news stories. Orbital data centers, tech executives on science councils, age-gated identity layers, and multimodal fact-checking, they all map to a single trend. The unifying outcome here is absolute centralization. The open internet is being replaced by a highly gated, heavily mediated environment. The industry's public marketing insists we are entering an era of infinite abundance. The hard physical reality shows extreme resource scarcity, maxed out electrical grids, and massive infrastructure costs that are being passed down to the public. For the individual citizen, the consequences are stark. We are being reduced to endpoints, users who must pay the higher utility bills to power the grid, fund the sovereign debt to buy the chips, and continuously prove our identity to participate in digital life. When the same actors control the energy grid, write the legislative framework, and manage the algorithmic verification of truth, it is no longer a free market. It is a closed monopoly on reality.